we're just gonna go straight into the next 4 chapters of this manga, so I'll keep this short and just say, good gravy. These twins are some crazy shippers. I mean, I know that kind of applies for all of their books, but this series in particular, you'll see. Anyway, let's just get right into chapters 3 through 6 of the Mahotsukai Precure manga. Continuing from where we left off last time, Miai was taking some magical school classes and was excelling at them, even garnering the praise of budget Dumbledore here. So, Michael Gambon, Jude Law, and, Tony Red Bull? Yeah, I don't care if those latter two are just basically younger versions of the character. We need to stop trying to replace Richard Harris, for goodness sake. Okay, sorry, went off on a little bit of a tangent there. Anyway, as previously established, Liko wasn't all that keen on praising her friend's many accomplishments, especially when she ended up completely schooling her. Like this one exercise where they were supposed to make big elephant-shaped bubbles, and hers only got smaller with each rapapa. Though, to be fair, you do need at least a few small guys for the pink elephant scene. Get off here, Burton! Also, yes, there's a much more obvious joke that could be made here, but let's just not go there, guys. Later, Miai tried to cheer her friend up by jokingly saying that she might have cast an incompetence spell on herself.
Okay, there's really no need to get savage.
But Liko took it surprisingly well because she was well aware of her shortcomings. Though Miai did end up triggering her when she said magic was fun, which Liko didn't see it as such. Now, I really like these 2 pages, as by playing with our expectations, we ended up learning a lot about Liko. As I said, most of us would have expected Miai's first comment to set her off, but no, she was very aware of her lack of magic prowess and had enough backbone to roll with it. Maybe it did bother her a little going by this phase, but not enough to set her off. No, what ended up doing it for her was a relatively innocent comment that probably wouldn't even register with other mages, but struck her like a bolt of lightning apparently. It showed that she was more upset at the whole magical system that gave her next to no magical aptitude, and yet almost everything to a muggle like Mirai, who seemed like she wasn't even taking it all that seriously. Liko may be pretty tough, but like many people, she ends up getting held down by forces well beyond her control, and understandably, that frustrates her to no end. Now, of course, I'm not saying her lashing out like this was a good thing. In fact, as we'll soon see in this chapter, there are ways of working around the system. Anyway, just as she was about to leave in a literal huff, Mofrun smelled something which, oh come on! Guys, give me a break. I've already made more than enough Biolante and Little Shop of Horror references. I don't know what else I can use. Oh wait, they are in a magical school, right? But yeah, their classmates ended up creating a giant stink plant through some kind of mixture of magic water and magic plants. Yeah, they don't explain it all that well. Point is, they needed the Precure to take care of it before the teachers found out. Because yeah, making sure y'all don't get detention is the job of the superheroines. Still, Liko did try to go at this problem with her usual practical approach, while Mirai tried to get rid of the plant's smell by masking it with perfume, neutralizing it with vinegar, and just sucking it all up with predictably disastrous results for each. Yeah, thankfully, this manga does acknowledge just because somebody is good at thinking outside the box doesn't mean they always have great ideas. Honestly, I kind of wish they would do this with more of the supposed big brain pinks of this franchise. Liko tried to inject it directly with some deodorizer, which probably worked a little to reduce the smell, but it also made the plant aware of what they were doing, and thus it reacted by spraying out its scent and attracting some bugs. Realizing that these bugs were going to be used to pollinate, and therefore reproduce more of these plants across the entire magical world, Liko rightfully went into full panic mode. To make matters worse, the shrub went into full Bile-Audrey mode. Yeah, I can't be the only one who's getting tired of this cliche, right? Speaking of cliches, just as Liko was about to give up by declaring herself a total failure, Miai was there to comfort her. I mean, yeah, I'll admit, I eat up scenes like this because they are adorable and everything, but I do have to admit, they're a little overplayed, especially in Precure. In any case, Miai said that she would go help out the others who were being totally ungrateful, by the way. Yeah, again, whose fault was it that they didn't get the teachers involved? Anyway, she would help them while Liko thought up another way to take care of the plant. They broke free, and Liko took a page of Shikamaru's playbook by the looks of it. They still allow her to concentrate and also realized there was nothing wrong with the fact that the two of them were so different. In fact, it was because they were total opposites that they made such a good team. And that little thought gave her the inspiration to cast her Grow Big spell on the plant, which of course ended up shrinking it. Yeah, nice foreshadowing there and showing how you can turn a negative into a positive in the right situation. I'm gonna assume it also worked on the bugs, reducing them down to like tiny gnats incapable of pollination. With that, the day was safe and Mirai congratulated her partner by whispering some kind of spell to her while making this face. Excuse me, I think they want me to adjust my monetization settings. Seriously, that is a thirsty Yukari face if I've ever seen one. Thus, appropriately, the next chapter opened with the two sleeping in bed with a little baby in between them and— wait, what? Yeah, apparently they found a baby fairy in one of the books at the Magic Academy. Well, points to the magic world for cutting out the middleman? Are you just gonna stay here all day? Anyway, along with the baby that they named Hotchan, Liko came back with Mirai to learn more about the human world. She managed to somehow convince her parents that Liko was there just for a normal homestay, but really, we all know they're just there waiting until they're of legal marriage age. And sure enough, they raised the infant fairy almost exactly like a stereotypical stern father and coddling mother couple, with the former, of course, not approving of the latter's childcare methods. Oh, pshaw, Liko. What's the worst a little helicopter parenting is going to do? What, she gonna like kidnap a bunch of kids, lock them in a dream world, surrounded by a bunch of evil teddy bears who sound like Goku if he were a Pokemon? I love how all of my reviews line up so nicely. The next day, though, Mirai managed to convince Liko to go along with her plans by showing her a standing stem in her tea, which is a sign of good luck in Japan. Also, I love how Liko is just reading the morning paper to really hammer in the idea that she's best husbando. And with that, the little family of four spent the day doing the usual newlywed things, like riding a tandem bike, which can't be easy for someone whose main source of transportation most of her life has been a broom. They visited an animal farm where Liko was terrified by the ducks, I don't blame her, and they ended the day at a strawberry plantation where they allowed patrons to pick as many fresh strawberries as they could find. However, the two were having trouble finding the tasty fruits. Let me guess, did some pre-boy of a K-pop album pay this place a visit earlier? No, of course, most of the strawberries had already been picked by other guests earlier in the day. I blame social media for turning these places into tourist traps. Miai, of course, did the most sensible thing and tried to solve all of her problems with magic. Yeah. It did work as she was able to force out some new strawberries. However, the fact that berries only seemed to appear around them quickly gained everyone's attention, and okay, what's with the camera crew? Do these news outlets these days only care about the views? But yeah, after somehow developing some minor celebrity status. To be fair, I do think these two are far more admirable than anyone in Hollywood right now. The Precure hid themselves. Everyone caught on to Miai's antics, with even Mofuru chewing her out over it. She explained how she just wanted to make sure Liko and Hotchan's day didn't end on a disappointing note, and that hopefully they would come to love the human world. Eventually, they did manage to outrun the TMZ crowds, but it turned to night by the time they did. Miai apologized to Liko, having broken a promise she had made that morning to get them back by 5. And on top of that, she admitted that she had also used magic to stage the standing tea stem too. Now, normally, I would heavily decry a pink lead for trying to pull off these sorts of manipulative tactics, but in the context of this story, I'm willing to give it a pass, as it does give Mirai a much needed humanizing element. Again, I'm trying to treat manga and anime Miai as two separate characters, and in the case of this book, she has been treading the Mary Sue waters a little. So far, she's completely outclassed not just Liko, but likely at least a few average magical school students, and also came up with a plan that defeated the Picogoro Cloud. Here though, and also kind of the last chapter, we saw actual consequences that came with giving a character too many W's. Mirai grew too comfortable using magic for everything. I mean, I wouldn't say she went on a full-on power trip or anything, but when you give a kid the keys to the city, of course they're going to misuse them. She simply came to believe that she would be able to solve all of her problems with magic, but of course that's just not how things work. A reality check like this is a great way of grounding a character whose head has been Fruity Land for much of this story. Also, thankfully, Liko didn't just gloss over the fact that her friend outright lied to her face. She told her that what she did was absolutely needless, as she had already come to love the human world, likely because it was so different from the magic world, kind of calling back to that whole opposites attract thing from the last chapter. And ultimately, she did forgive her, because at least it got them out of the house. Probably could have gone without the mob, but again, this is the world social media has created for all of us. Anyway, I guess all of this friendship talk maxed out Hotchan's happiness gauge, allowing her to evolve into a slightly bigger Hotchan. And with that, the chapter ended with the two heading home, where Miai's mother was waiting to ask them why they were on television, to which the two just quirkily said the T-Stem's prediction was right. No, seriously, Miai, there's an officer in the next room interrogating your father. What in God's name did you do? A new school semester started in the human world, and since our world is made up of mostly mundane academics, Liko managed to excel at Miai's middle school, where she just somehow transferred into. Yeah, again, we have to give this manga a lot of leeway when it comes to stuff like paperwork and all that. But yeah, educationally, she was doing much better in the human world than the more practically driven Magic World's education system. Granted, there were things exclusive to this particular school that she wasn't familiar with, like painting starry skies to take pictures in front of. Yeah, apparently Miai's class can't take a photo in front of an actual starry sky. No, they have to paint one and then simulate it. I mean, who would actually stand in front of an obviously fake background? Anyway, Miai encouraged Liko to participate, as it would be a good friend-making opportunity, but for her, all she needed was her Miai, of course. The next day, Liko did participate in this weird little tradition, during which she of course felt a little out of place, especially when Miai proved to be a social butterfly, while she still saw herself as an outsider. Things only got more complicated when a couple of her classmates pointed out how Miai makes friends with pretty much everyone she meets, and to many of those soon-to-be friends, she would often use the phrase, "Please, can we be friends?" Mayday! Mayday! The ship is taking out water! The ship is sinking, sir! It is sinking! As a result, Liko ended up leaving early and took off on a little broom drive. For her, she no longer felt like the wayward witch who had become a special existence in Miai's life, but rather just another in a long list of just friends. Still, she didn't want to let go of Mirai just yet, so she used her magic to listen in and... Note to self, go find a one-up mushroom later. Back to the review. Anyway, Liko listened in with that thing, as Mirai was wondering what was bothering her friend so much. And on her first try, Bofurud managed to absolutely hit on the mark and completely deconstructed Liko's character, much to her chagrin. And this is why the teddy bear was voted the best side character. Realizing what she had done, Mirai started to blame herself, and okay, Bofurud, you can stop now, please. Liko agreed and was about to put a face mask on that bear, but was stopped when she heard Miai admit that she was trying to make things easier for her Liko, emphasis on that last part. But yeah, she was just trying to make entering into her circle of friends easier for Liko by drumming up everyone's enthusiasm. But once again, we had a case of opposite effects. That's kind of been a running theme throughout this video, hasn't it? Anyway, hearing this, Liko decided to move a few oceans around and use some stardust to write a message in the sky for her friend, To which Mirai responded with the same method.
Okay, putting aside the May solar systems they've irreparably damaged with their antics, I have one question. When exactly did these two become so OP?
Anyway, the two went out on a little midnight date, which included trespassing on private property, and Liko assuring Mirai that she would try to make friends with everyone in her circle. The chapter ended with her fulfilling that promise, and Mirai was now the one on the outside. The last chapter we'll cover for today opened with Mofurun literally being hung out to dry after needing a bath because of an arts and craft disaster with Hotchan.
Ooh, sorry, that's gonna really affect your resale value there, Mofurun.
But yeah, Mirai and Liko quickly began to learn the importance of magical baby-proofing the house. Also, perhaps teaching her the importance of not bringing down the thunder of God onto the lowly mortals might be a good idea too. And because of all of this, they tried to hide Hotchan as much as they could, even telling her not to approach any humans. They found themselves quickly at their wits' end, until Miai's grandmother said she had something wonderful to show them.
Wonderful!
No, of course, they were old home movies of a baby Miai, whom I'm kind of disappointed didn't get a better reaction out of Liko. Anyway, Miai's parents soon joined in on the conversation, and explained to Liko how they eventually got her to be a fairly well-behaved child, minus the broom grabbing. Naturally, they did discipline her a little, but otherwise, they also tried to give her the freedom to express herself.
Man, I gotta say, I really like this message. I mean, obviously, child raising is going to vary from case to case, and you really shouldn't let your kids just run the show. But at the same time, you should also give them a bit of a canvas to work with and express themselves.
Because of this, Mirai and Liko did decide to give Hotchan a little more freedom, like taking her out to the beach and just letting her frolic a little. This likely also had the added benefit that she wouldn't do as many crazy things like she did under her previous restrictions. During their little trip, the young fairy asked if she could also interact with humans now, which Liko almost refused, but of course the slightly more coddly mother of this pair convinced her to let her be, which I don't completely agree with. I mean, even putting aside the whole fairy thing, I think it's also important to teach the kid the importance of stranger danger, especially in the Precure universe. Though luckily it was just another kid who, wait, is that young Nodoka? I mean, the resemblance is uncanny.
And really, considering how much this franchise plays around with timelines, you can't say it's impossible, right?
Anyway, the two befriended each other while looking for some 4-leaf clovers to give to everyone, which, yeah, cute and everything, though I think you guys got the wrong team. The girl, named Yuri apparently, I still say she's Nodoka, was called in by her mother. And with that, the chapter ended with her saying farewell to Hotchan, but ended up going in the wrong direction off a cliff, forcing the fairy to transform into a Precure and rescue her.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. The chapter just ends like that. A couple panels earlier, they were just picking some clovers, and then boom, instant Precure. I mean, just as a reminder, this originally came out in a monthly magazine, so I can only imagine how the manga-only readers felt, or even how the anime fans felt, considering how much they diverge from Cure Felice's origin. Again, I don't want to bring in too many comparisons just yet, but I think we can all agree this felt more than a little rushed.
Still, that aside, these chapters overall were pretty great. I mean, we got some nice character interactions, as well as some much-needed development for this version of Miai Asahina, and much of it was thanks to a child between the two, who's now currently physically their age. What kind of stuff do I review?
I found it interesting that 3 chapters in a row involved a bit of an opposites theme. Liko's spell having the opposite effect saved the day, and Mirai's 2 attempts at comforting Liko both had the opposite outcome. As a result, it ended up highlighting how exactly the Liko and Mirai dynamic works. They are total opposites, and while that would obviously lead to some miscommunication, they also developed a much deeper understanding of each other because they were able to compare and contrast each other so much. Thus, we got some really cute moments out of them, as well as just some plain good character moments, in particular for Mirai, who was in need of some toning down after she had gotten away with a little too much in this volume. And of course, much of their bonding came as a result of a certain baby fairy whose very presence provided us both with some kind of informative, but also just plain wholesome couple of childcare chapters, with the latter being especially good, aside from that sudden ending. Yeah, Hotchan's Precure debut in this manga was more than a little forced, but still, it should be interesting to see what she'll bring to the table in the next few chapters.
I'll wrap up this month with the 7th and final chapter of this volume, and then I think I'll spend maybe 2 to 3 weeks working on part 3 of my Happiness Charge review. Yeah, I know I said I was going to try to do as many weekly reviews as possible, but now I kind of want to slow things down a little just to get the creative juices flowing again. Don't worry, I will try to get it done as soon as I can, and then we can get back to the weekly schedule. Look forward to it, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and you're just gonna stick around here, aren't you? Hey look, somebody's criticizing CNN. Works every time.